Video has been brought to you by OneFootball, the app that gives you football news all over the world from 160 different leagues in 16 different languages. And this is the OneFootball app. As you can see, our teams are up here at the top. It's in the playing Crystal Palace. You've got news, so the latest news regarding football, anything to do with football, transfer talk, and of course there's videos from around the world. So guys, make sure you go down to the description below and make sure you download the app.
Hello everyone, it's John back again, and this is my match preview for the Everton Brighton game on Saturday. But before I get on to the preview, it's going to be sort of two videos in one. I'm going to talk about the preview for the game at the end of the video, but I just want to talk about a few things that's happened since the defeat to the other lot on Sunday. Really, we've all read on social media and in the papers and a few things on Sky and what people have put on Twitter about a few things that's happening at the club since Sunday. There's something definitely not right within Everton. And I can't really put my finger on what it is, but I think a lot of the senior players have a lot to do with it. Apparently some of them aren't buying into Ancelotti's ideas. Well, I'm not being funny. If you're not going to buy into a manager's tactics and knowledge of the game, then you shouldn't be at Everton Football Club, because we've got one of the most successful, well-renowned managers in world football at our club now, and his tactics are getting questioned by certain members of the playing squad, the senior members more so. So we'll start with what come out a couple of days after the derby, which was basically Ferguson locking the players in the dressing room. I wouldn't go as far as saying he locked them in, but he closed the door and basically let rip at the players for the second half performance, especially. From what we've read, he gave a lot of the players a few home truths on their performance and how they've been playing, the last couple of weeks. Namely, the senior players, from what I've seen, some of them argued back and started blaming Ancelotti's tactics. Well, I'm not being funny. You shouldn't be at Everton Football Club, because if you can't buy, and as I said, if you can't buy into Carlo Ancelotti's tactics and how he wants to play the game, then you shouldn't be a footballer, in my opinion. So the senior players who have been mooted to have argued back with Ferguson is Delph, Sigurdsson, Schneiderlin, and I also heard Michael Keane. Now, them players can argue all they want back to Ancelotti and back to Ferguson, because in my opinion they have no future within the club anyway. So let them argue, because they won't be there for much longer. If we can get replacements in, and I know they're on a lot of wages, the likes of Sigurdsson and Schneiderlin, and some of them are on £100,000 a week, and it's going to be hard to get them off the wage bill. I'll just put them up to sale for 5 million. Someone will take them for 5 million, get them off the books, because a lot of them players think they're better than what they are. And they've come to Everton for a final payday, especially Delph. He's another one, Delph. For me, Delph's Everton career is practically over before it started. I want to get on to Delph now. Some of you may have seen he was having an argument with an Everton fan on social media. I didn't believe it at first, because it looked like some of the messages had been made up and screenshot and passed around or what have you. But I have seen some that apparently are true. Now, the Red Echoes also reported that Everton want to sit down with Delph and get his take on the situation of the argument. So, I know it's the Red Echo, but I think Sky reported on it as well. There must be some truth in it. There was a few saying, what I read, Delph had said, wouldn't you be pissed off playing alongside Sigurdsson every week? Well, I'm not being funny. He's not going to say that. He's not going to say that. Let's be honest about it. But I really do think that there was some arguments between Delph and an Everton fan. For me, Delph thinks he's bigger than what he is. Me included, when Delph come to Everton, I thought, he was going to bring experience. He's won Premier League titles, with City, and he come from a good team. But let's be honest about it, he was injured a lot of the time. So, for me, Fabian Delph is a bad apple in that dressing room as far as I'm concerned. And he should be got rid of as soon as possible. Wouldn't ask me if he never ever played for Everton Football Club again. Apparently, he was told to train with the kids Wednesday, because he was questioning again Ancelotti's tactics. So he got told to go and train with the kids or the under 23s. Another thing I heard about Fabian Delph a couple of weeks ago was him and Holgate were in the same team, and they got into a bit of a debate on the pitch, and apparently Delph said to Holgate, "Show me some fucking respect. Who do you think you're talking to? You should respect me." Now, I'm not being funny. I couldn't give a shit if you've played for Barcelona or Real Madrid and you come to Everton. At the end of the day, professional footballers should not be saying to a teammate, "You should show me some respect." So as far as I'm concerned, Delph can go as soon as possible. He hasn't been the player we thought he'd be with the experience. He's constantly injured, and he was the same at Man City. He's probably another one who's on £100,000 a week. He's a bad apple within the club. As far as I'm concerned, Delph can go. One more thing I do want to talk about from the fallout from Sunday was the 7 fans that went down to Finch Farm on Wednesday. Now, apparently, when they got to the security gate, they asked to see some of the players. To be told by the security fella that it was the players' day off. They then said, from what I've read, well, if you don't get someone out here to talk to us, we're going to get a lot more Everton fans down here. So the security guard apparently got Marcel Brands, and he come out and had a 20-minute meeting with these fans. And I have no problem with fans going down there, to be fair. I applaud them fans who done that. It's about time someone done something about it. And they went down there, basically told Marcel Brands a few home truths, how the fans are feeling, accusing a lot of the players of just coming to Everton for the final payday, which is what I said earlier. Apparently Marcel Brands was shaking his head and nodding. He did say he would relay what the fans were saying to the players and the staff. Whether he will, I don't know. But something like that had to be done, and it has been done now. So let's hope them fans going down to Finch Farm will work. What worries me is the senior players who have had this big fallout with Ferguson. Now, we've got 5 games coming up that are very winnable. We're only 5 points from the bottom 3. The injury situation at Everton at the minute, we have no choice but to play these senior players who basically couldn't give a shit about wearing the Everton shirt. We have to play them, unless we bring the likes of Dennis Adraden, I think his name is, Anthony Gordon. I've just read something before. Ancelotti's close to giving him a go with the first team. But, I don't think he will put them straight in. So we are stuck basically with these overpaid mercenaries who couldn't give a shit about our football club. But it worries me. They can either say, well, basically, fuck you, we're going anyway, we're not going to put a shift in. Or they could say, do you know what, we'll show you. And they could start giving 100% every game. I don't think it'll be that, because the sort of players we're talking about, they won't give a shit if they play for Everton again, in my opinion. So we'll talk a little bit about the game now anyway. So we play a Brighton team who have won 6 games from 21 this season. They've got, I think his name's Maupai, who plays up front for them. He's scored 7 goals, but they're not prolific. And, they do concede goals. I'll be honest with you, I don't really know much about Brighton. They're not one of them teams, really, who will get a result to shock you or, make you notice what they've done. So This is a game I do expect Everton to win, to be fair. But, again, if it's a second-half performance like it was in the derby on Sunday in the cup game, we could easily get beat, in my opinion, because it was that poor. It was that poor. How them players can question Ancelotti's tactics is beyond me. But, you know, them players playing 80% should be enough to beat Brighton. You know, we've got the players who will give their all, we know. But as long as we can keep Maupai out, I think it is, who scored the 7 goals, and, you know, Richarlison can start beating players, you know, and this is frustrates me about Richarlison. You know, he's a strong lad, even though he goes down easy. He's a strong lad, but he doesn't take players on. I just want him to run at the opposition, go past them. He's got a bit of pace, just go past them, create chances, have a go yourself, get into the box. Richarlison really frustrates me, but we should have enough to beat this Brighton side, to be fair. You know, as I say, we've got 5 games coming up now, and they are all winnable, you know, and I'd like to think we'll win most of these games, but you never know what Everton are going to turn up. You never know what Everton you're going to get. And another thing, I don't know what the atmosphere is going to be like on Saturday, to be fair. I've seen some things on Twitter. Someone put, you know, turn our backs when they come out at 5-3 and stuff like that. Don't cheer the players onto the pitch. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I don't agree with when they come out booing them. If people want to turn their backs, that's fine. If they don't want to clap their names when they're read out on the tannoy, that's fine. Everyone, you know, each to their own. But, you know, these are 5 games that we can win now. So, you know, and I keep saying this every week, let's get behind the boys. And I know the players should create an atmosphere as well to get the fans up for it. But, you know, let's just get behind the team. One more thing I will go back to about the 7 lads going down to Finch Farm. I've seen a WhatsApp, and it was quite a long WhatsApp of apparently someone had heard or had been there or what have you. And part of it, one of the fans who went down, who was talking to Marcel Brand, said, if the players don't pull their finger out, they're going to go down to Finch Farm and smash all the players' cars and smash all the windows. Now, I don't agree with that, to be fair. If that's true, if it's true, I'm not saying it is true. I'm not saying it's not true. It's just this WhatsApp group I've seen. We're Everton Football Club. We don't smash things up. Our fans don't act like that. That is going a bit too far, in my opinion. Hopefully Marcel Brands will tell the players what the fans are feeling and thinking. That is a bit over the top for me, and I don't agree with doing any of that. So hopefully that won't happen. But I forgot to bring that up before when I was talking about the fallout. But going back to the reaction anyway, so we team for Saturday, a few changes. I'm going to put Lossell in goal. I'm going to put Baines at left back, Mina, Holgate, Coleman back in at right back. I'm going to put Richarlison on the left, Bernard on the right. I'm going to put Tom Davies in the middle. Now, this is a tough one because I feel like I'm backtracking on what I've said about these senior players now. But we are that short. Really, you can only pick from Delph, Schneiderlin or Sigurdsson for the middle. I'd put that Dennis Andrean in there, but I don't think that I would do that. You know, that would be my choice of player coming in, but I don't think Ancelotti will do that. So I'm going to put Sigurdsson in with Davis because I feel out of Sigurdsson, Schneiderlin and Delph, Sigurdsson will give us a bit more. I'm going to put Calvert-Lewin up front. Again, with Moise Kean. There's no one to replace Calvert-Lewin at the minute because he's the only one really scoring goals out of front players. And I'd keep Moise Kean in there because I think he needs a goal. And the only way he's going to get that first goal is by playing. So, my prediction for Saturday, I'm going to go for an Everton 2-0 win. I'm sorry I've gone on a bit long on this. As I say, it was more of a fallout video more than a preview, but I've tried to fit 2 into one, save boring you twice over 2 videos. So thanks very much for watching. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, give it a subscribe. Any comments you want to leave about what I've talked about, leave them at the bottom of the video. Me and Michael and his dad will be in the fan zone on Saturday, probably 1:30 onwards, near the beer van if anyone wants a beer. come over, talk about anything football, really, talk about whatever you want to us. If you want a beer with us, come over and let's talk about Everton. Cheers, thanks very much for watching, everyone. Have a good one.